The most dangerous NBA team next season isn't Denver, OKC, or Boston. It's Houston. They just added a two-time Finals MVP, have a 23-year-old All-Star leading in all 5 major stats, and finished 4th in defensive rating last year. The Rockets aren't just good, they're about to be terrifying. After pulling off a blockbuster trade for Kevin Durant, the Houston Rockets are looking to follow the blueprint of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Durant's arrival instantly expands Houston's championship window, even after last season's first-round exit. Sure, at 36 years old, the future Hall of Famer doesn't exactly promise a decade of dominance, but the Rockets have the flexibility to build around their young stars Alperen Sengun and Amen Thompson. They've got a balanced mix of promising youth, experienced role players, and a stockpile of high-upside draft picks. At the helm is a relentless, detail-obsessed leader who refuses to let the team grow complacent after just one good season. And to be fair, last year's run was phenomenal. But to understand how far they've come, we have to rewind. In 2021, the Rockets won just 17 games. In 2022, they managed 20. By 2023, they inched up to 22 wins. Technically progress, but in an 82-game season, 20-something wins is brutal. So in the summer of 2023, Houston hit the reset button. They brought in Ime Udoka, a no-nonsense, defensive-minded coach with a reputation for holding young stars accountable. Most importantly, he had proven he could turn things around fast. In his first year, Udoka did exactly that. The Rockets vaulted to 41 wins in 2023-24. This wasn't just a Cinderella story, it was proof of concept. The young core could win now. But coming off that breakout season, reality struck early. In the 2024-25 campaign, Houston stumbled out of the gate, losing 2 of their first 3 games to mediocre opponents. For a team with championship dreams, the message was clear: there's still work to be done.
Here's Williams, here come both teams.
Including a shocking home opening loss to the lowly Charlotte Hornets, the Rockets' early season struggles raised eyebrows. For a team with playoff ambitions, the concerning part wasn't just the losses. It was the bad habits appearing so soon. Udoka wasn't having it. With some old-school, straight-shooting adjustments, he refocused his squad, and they responded by going 18-0 to close out the calendar year. Then January brought a major setback. Jabari Smith Jr. fractured his left hand, sidelining one of Houston's most versatile forwards. But the injury created an opening for Amen Thompson, who stepped into the starting lineup and quickly built a legitimate Defensive Player of the Year case. Still, inconsistency loomed. Between February and early March, Houston dropped 11 of 16 games, a reminder of just how unforgiving the regular season can be. But they rallied down the stretch, finishing 15-5 with statement wins over playoff-caliber opponents, locking up the number 2 seed in the loaded Western Conference. Their formula was clear: lean on a top-4 defense and trust it to carry them into the postseason. But in the second round, they ran into a season rival, the Golden State Warriors, and bowed out in 7 games. The loss wasn't just about youth. The Rockets' season-long half-court spacing and three-point shooting issues reached a breaking point. In Game 7, they went just 5-for-17 from deep and scored a dismal 78 points per 100 half-court possessions. For context, even the Hornets, dead last in that category during the regular season, averaged 90. The takeaway? Their elite defense was playoff-ready, but the offense needed more than crashing the glass to win big games. Still, for most of Houston's young core, it was their first taste of postseason basketball, a vital step in their evolution. Steve Kerr summed them up best. Grit, toughness. You know what you're going to get when you play them. But Udoka wasn't buying moral victories. The Warriors exposed Houston's lack of a clear offensive leader, forcing someone to take over. And when the moment came, nobody did.
And turnover. Green lays it in.
Sengun closed out Game 7 with 21 points on 23 shots. Fred VanVleet, after 3 strong performances, was held to just 17. And Jalen Green? Completely erased from the series. Only 8 points on 8 attempts. Udoka knew his team wasn't ready for that stage yet, but he made it clear he expects much more next year. We've taken steps, and that's shown not only in our record, but in our guys' growth and understanding, Udoka said. We always want more. Selfish, greedy, whatever you want to call it. Everyone's goal is to be better and come back better. The Rockets didn't just talk about improvement, they acted on it. First, general manager Rafael Stone and owner Patrick Fertitta moved aggressively to keep their core intact. Udoka signed a long-term extension. Veterans Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams re-signed quickly. Trusted role players Aaron Holiday, Jeff Green, and Jae'Sean Tate also returned. Jabari Smith Jr., one of Udoka's favorites thanks to his defensive versatility and ability to play positions 3 through 5, agreed to a new deal as well. Then came the move that shook the entire league. When the opportunity arose to add another centerpiece, Houston pounced. And calling it historic is no exaggeration, it was the largest trade in NBA history. Kevin Durant was headed to Houston in a blockbuster that sent Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and a haul of assets across 7 teams, involving 13 players. The Rockets also reunited with an old friend from the Harden, D'Antoni era, Clint Capella. He'll anchor a deep frontcourt alongside Sengun and Steven Adams, doubling down on the bully ball approach that made Houston one of the league's most dominant rebounding teams last season. Still, the Capella pickup was secondary. This was all about Durant. Last season, KD averaged 26.6 points for a mismatched, unhappy Suns squad. Over his 17-year career, the 6 feet 11 inches forward has posted 27.2 points and 7 rebounds per game. He's a 4-time scoring champion, a 2-time Finals MVP, and one of just 8 players in NBA history to score over 30,000 points. Having played against Kevin and coached him before, I know he's the type of competitor who fits with what we've been building here in Houston, Udoka said. His skill level, love for basketball, and dedication to his craft have made him one of the most respected players of his generation. Durant doesn't just raise the Rockets' ceiling, he raises their expectations. General manager Rafael Stone put it plainly. He's Kevin Durant. He's really good. He's super efficient. He had a great year last year. Obviously, he's not 30 anymore, but he hasn't really fallen off. We think he can be hugely impactful for us.
Been the man in the clutch for the Suns over the last several years, but it's Durant!
The Durant trade, costing Houston 2 starters and valuable draft capital, was the clearest signal yet that the Rockets are all in on competing at the highest level. And in the opening hours of free agency, they doubled down. Veteran forward Dorian Finney-Smith signed a 4-year, $53 million deal, bringing elite defense, improved floor spacing, and stealing a key role player from the rival Lakers. For a 52-win team to land Durant without gutting its depth was already a huge win. Adding Finney-Smith and Capella on team-friendly deals put Houston in rare company. League-wide, this is now arguably the deepest roster in basketball, a team that's gone from patient rebuild to legitimate contender in under 3 seasons. Udoka now has the personnel to play virtually any style, at any pace, against any opponent. But the real question, do these moves solve the playoff problems Houston faced? Let's start with Durant. Even in a turbulent season for Phoenix, they still rank top 10 in half-court offense, thanks largely to KD's consistent scoring and ability to create in tough situations. And that's exactly what Houston was missing.
Durant with the finish!
Per cleaning the glass, the Suns were 6.2 points better per 100 possessions on offense with Durant on the floor. His team's effective field goal percentage has consistently jumped by about 6 points whenever he plays, a trend that's followed him at every stop in his career. On paper, it's a perfect fit, a smooth, elite 3-level scorer surrounded by high-motor athletes and a crafty low-post hub in Sengun. But adjustments will be necessary. Houston's equal opportunity offense will now tilt toward a player who's had the ball in his hands for his entire career. Durant's usage rate has ranked in the 93rd percentile, or higher every single season. That will mean fewer touches for Sengun, VanVleet, Thompson, and others, but the trade-off could be huge. The Warriors smothered Houston with zone defense in the playoffs, so improving zone offense and spacing has been a clear offseason priority. Expect to see KD as a screener, popping into open space while a big sets a back screen to free him. VanVleet, one of the league's best guard screeners, can also be used to create mismatches, except now, instead of setting up Sengun post-ups, those switches will free Durant for clean jumpers. Finney-Smith brings a different kind of value. He torched Houston as a Laker last season, hitting 12 of 23 threes in their late matchups. His teams were plus 10.8 and plus 9.3 points per 100 possessions with him on the court in Brooklyn and LA, respectively. He spaces, relocates, and converts, shooting 42.9% and 43.5% from the corners, and nearly 40% above the break against zone defenses. That kind of shooting turns drawn-out possessions into quick, high-quality looks. Exactly the kind of weapon Houston lacked when the game slowed down last spring. A team that finished bottom 10 in half-court offense just added two 40% three-point shooters, one of them a top 10 scorer in NBA history. With Houston's coaching staff committed to a major offensive leap, they suddenly have endless lineup combinations to create elite spacing. And the homegrown core is only getting better. Alperen Sengun is coming off an all-star season and is poised to feast with more room to operate. Amen Thompson, a two-way terror, will have wider driving lanes and more posters to collect. Steven Adams and Clint Capella form the league's most intimidating offensive rebounding duo. But the scariest part? This team is so deep we haven't even mentioned a potential breakout star, Reed Sheppard. The 21-year-old guard, drafted 3rd overall in 2024, spent most of his rookie year on the bench, with a productive G League stint for the Vipers mixed in. After the All-Star break, though, he began making the most of his chances. In late April, facing the Lakers and Clippers, both battling for playoff seeding, Sheppard posted a combined 34 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals, shooting a blistering 10-for-18 from deep. His shooting is exactly what Houston lacked last postseason. Though he finished the year at just 33.8% from 3, that number doesn't tell the whole story. His role was inconsistent, and for a floor spacer, rhythm is everything. When given the green light, Sheppard showed his potential, like in the Las Vegas Summer League, where he drilled 6 threes against the Clippers, most of them heavily contested. He ended that game with a dominant stat line, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks in 33 minutes. If Sheppard takes another step, Houston's offense could be as scary as its defense.
No, I don't have to ever say that to him during the year.
Oh, wow. He went mixtape.
Of course, as the number 3 overall pick, you expect Reed Sheppard to shine against Summer League competition. But the Rockets weren't just evaluating his numbers, they were testing his leadership. In timeouts, coaches pulled him into the huddle. In practice, they had him break down plays, out-of-bounds sets, and late-game free throw situations. They wanted him to run the show, fast, decisive, and within the system's principles. If that's a preview of his role next season, Sheppard's shooting and playmaking should fit seamlessly alongside Houston stars. Any defensive concerns will be far easier to mask on one of the league's most dominant defensive units. And speaking of defense, Houston just got even scarier. They were already top 5 last season, and now they've added more physicality, rim protection, switchability, and point-of-attack pressure. Imagine a lineup of Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jabari Smith Jr., and Kevin Durant. The length is absurd. The Rockets can now match up with anyone, in any style, and smother opponents in ways few teams can. This isn't a rebuilding team anymore. Houston is all in, winning now while developing for the future. They've been compared to OKC in their approach, and while the two aren't identical, both understand the league's razor-thin parity. The Rockets are gearing up for a fight at the top of the Western Conference, possibly as soon as next season. If everything falls into place, this could be the early foundation of a dynasty. The Rockets check every box: elite defense, superstar firepower, young core growth, depth, spacing, coaching, and culture. They have the talent. They have the coach. And now, they have the closer. The Houston Rockets aren't on the way. They're here. And if you're not ready, you're going to get cooked. Do you think Houston has what it takes to dethrone the Thunder in the West this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll be tracking their season prep closely, so make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't miss any of our future breakdowns.